The Ultimate Iron Man, the hardest and most restricted game mode in old school RuneScape. No banking or trading other players. And after claiming the world record for fastest MANSCAPED on a main account, I decided to step it up and speedrun max total on an Ultimate Iron Man. Just me and my inventory in a race against the clock. And the goal? 99 in all skills before the timer hits 2000 hours. This is the Ultimate Iron Man MANSCAPED speedrun any percent. And the last time on the Ultimate MANSCAPED speedrun, well, we did only Runecraft. Spent around 170 hours in the Rift in total, but we finally finished the whole thing last time. And are now 50 mil GP richer and still have close to 3000 searches left in the rewards guardian. I might loot them at the end of this video, but it could also be at the start of the next one. I'm not sure, and don't be mad if it's not in this one. But anyway, let's crack on with today's episode. The first thing I want to do, now that I'm still in the runecrafting mode, is to do all the diary steps for runecraft. With the runecrafting outfit, these are actually made a lot easier. For the ones that involve crafting more than double runes, the runecraft requirement is reduced massively. I mean, just look at the one for air runes that goes from level 88 to 55 runecraft. Not that it is possible to have the full outfit by level 55, but you get the point. However, the outfit doesn't decrease the level needed for the ones like craft 56 natures. But the outfit makes this one a lot more Ultimate Iron Man friendly. It may not decrease the level, but it does decrease the amount of essence needed to craft 56 nature runes. I think you need like 18 or 19 essence minimum, which is nice for ultimates, otherwise you needed to death pile for these steps individually. And now that my inventory was almost empty, I could just knock all of them out in one go with the noted pure essence I claimed from the wizard's comp tree in Ardoin from the diary. So I can now store the outfit in the player-owned house, and I will need it again to craft some rot runes for Slayer. But the Colossal Pouch and Lantern aren't storable, so these will hit the floor and being destroyed. And let's move on to mining. I did get level 70 mining from Guardians of the Rift, 0 time, but I need level 72 for making friends with my arm. So gonna quickly knock out 72 mining here, and please ignore the fact that I brought a lot of water skins when I have the Circuit of Water available from the TOA quest. But yeah, I kinda forgot about that thing. 71 mining. And not 72 mining, because I'm stopping 50k off 72, since the quest itself will give me 50k mining XP, and then I am 72 to mine the salts in the mines there. I want to do 2 more things before we get busy with questing again. First, some smithing. The best way to train this skill is to do Blast Furnace Gold. Normally you would hop between the Blast Furnace world, buy gold from the shop, put them on the conveyor belt, and then drop the bars and repeat. But there is a slightly better way to do this. If you have another Ultimate Iron Man sell you noted gold ore to the shop, you can buy the unnoted ones. And that way you don't have to hop worlds, resulting in slightly higher XP rates. The other account has to be an Ultimate Iron Man, as Ultimate Iron Man have a separate stock from main accounts and other Iron Man modes. And some people even made Ultimate Iron Man gargoyle alts for this to sell noted gold ore to themselves. I found that a little bit too much work, so I got some Chad Ultimate Iron Man PVMers with noted gold ore from Chambers and Muspa, selling me the gold that they aren't going to use. I don't think I can do this for all my smithing, like it's not that common that someone wants to get rid of their gold ore, but when I do get a chance, I will do some smithing. And I got over halfway to 73 smithing, but then the gold ore ran out, so we're gonna leave this place for now. And the second thing I wanted to show you guys is... today's video sponsor is MANSCAPED. The Premier League is back in action, so it's only right that we partner with the premier men's grooming company MANSCAPED. A class above the rest, MANSCAPED is now focusing on their off-ball movement with their Beard Hatcher Pro Kit. You can get the best Manscaped grooming products at manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free delivery with our code HeyBoxjongen at checkout. The beard hedger is now available worldwide. First off, this waterproof cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard. So no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. And with 20 lengths, it's never been so easy to find your signature beard look. Just because Manscaped has moved above the groin doesn't mean they have lost track of the ball. They still have the Lawnmower 4.0. The Lawnmower 4.0's ceramic blades reduce nicks and cuts in your most sensitive regions. The trimmer battery also lasts 90 minutes. Go get your perfect trimmer for your face and happy place with the Manscaped Beard Hedger and Lawnmower 4.0. Plus you can get 20% off and free delivery with the code HeyBoxjongen at manscaped.com. That is 20% off with free delivery at manscaped.com and using the code HeyBoxjongen. Thank you Manscaped for sponsoring. The second thing actually was getting 70 farming for Song of the Elves. And I'm doing this at Tide Farm as I still need to get a herb sack at some point. So going to do this until 250 points. And boosting as well for the level 74 fruit for more XP and the diary step. And that is 300 points at the Tide Farm and got level 72. Just buying the auto wheat now since I don't really need the herb sack, and it's kind of nice that you can just store an item in the reward shop from a minigame. So when I do need the herb sack, I can just pull up to the reward shop and then buy it. But Tide Farm is still Tide Farm, so get me out of here. But as you probably noticed already by the thumbnail and the title, this episode is about the final quest before I can claim the quest cape. And while I'm not really interested in the quest cape itself, I am interested in the Lumbridge Elite Diary. This diary step, perform the quest cape emote inside the house of the wise old man, is probably the only thing in this game that has gotten more difficult over time. The achievement diaries were added on March 5th, 2015, more than a year before Old School saw its first new quest, Monkey Madness 2. And originally 246 quest points were required. And the hardest quest was probably 3 mentor in terms of boss fights, I'm not too sure. But in the past 7 years, 24 new quests have been added and the 25th is on its way as we speak. And some of them having serious requirements and boss fights. And it is currently July the 5th as of this recording, and I'm still missing a handful of requirements, and the hardest quest of them all is coming out in 3 weeks from now, being Desert Treasure 2. So I would like to complete all the current quests and do the diary step before that monster of a quest is in the game. But I'm still missing 70 Hunter and 70 Herblore, and 64 ranged is probably not going to cut it for Dragon Slayer 2 as well, so we have some work to do. And I'm beginning with Monkey Madness 2. Just like Monkey Madness 1, this quest is divided into chapters, and the first chapter requires you to visit Entrana. And since I'm still dead banked from the Runecraft grind, this was a no-brainer to do now to save some time later having to re-dead bank or death pile again. And that is also the final quest that has me going to Entrana, so this is truly the last time this account has set foot on this island. But now I'm going to work on 70 Hunter. But I can't just start trading the skill that I need on the Ultimate Iron Man speedrun. That would just be silly. I need to have the perfect setup for it first. So in order to do efficient birdhouses, I need to get a mounted digside pendant. But this has a requirement of 82 construction. And I'm only 74 at the moment. But I can boost for it with a crystal saw and tea. And to get my hands on all the planks I'm going to need, I'm going to wipe out all the crime on the continent of Zea. I did this once before on the speedrun, but I was kinda poor back then, so I couldn't really afford that many runes. But now with the Runecraft money, I can afford some more Chaos and Dead runes. And not only give these guys a lot of planks, but they also give the intelligence, which you can trade in for a nice amount of combat XP. And that's the first level up, 70 defense. These actually give a stupid amount of combat XP per hour effectively. I'm doing logouts to wait for the next gang meeting, so that's why the XP per hour is so high. But you could also just run some roofs or something in the meantime and still get the same effective strength XP per hour at the gang meetings. And another combat level, 82 strength. Just finished the final gang off and Zea is now crime free and I have enough planks. And I also got a crystal key from the gang members. And these are actually 1 in 1000 for the key half, so that is pretty lucky because I didn't kill that many. But that crystal key comes in really handy because now I can make a skill necklace and have a quick teleport to the Farmer Guild, and I can complete the RD Heart Diary because I still have to charge some jewelry in the Legends Guild. Oh yeah, I like this already. Quick access to the Farmer Guild. I'm definitely going to try to keep this skill necklace on me for as long as possible. And now it's time for some more mahogany homes, this time with the plank sack. And I wanted to buy some more arrow shafts, because fletching during this is actually really good. You can fletch a lot of arrows per hour. But I saw that the shops were actually fully stocked, so I'm gonna buy all of them out. So hopefully we can get like 100k plus arrow shafts. And it was even better than 100k. I managed to get 131k in like 20 minutes of in-game time. And that was already the last of the teak and the mahogany planks, and I'm keeping the 6 planks for the quest that I'm gonna do in a bit. But I'm also already pretty close to 77 construction, and I still have 2.3k oak planks left. But there's a reason for that. And I'm only going to use 300 oak planks at mahogany homes, and the 2000 are gonna be used for sepulchre in the future. And that is 77. Now it's time to pimp out the POH a little bit. Finishing off the rubies needed for the curator's medallion, so buying these in kilogram and then trading them in at curator Haig Helen. Also the plank sack just goes on the floor because I can just buy that back later. Also, this is very much a main moment. I did build the teak shelves too for the teas, but who the fuck knew that you also needed like the kettle and all the stoves and the sinks and what the hell, man. And also it didn't help that I already had items needed for the jewelry box in my inventory, so I had to take like 3 trips to the blast furnace for all the steel bars. But after all that hard work, I finally have a jewelry box, a mounted Digside pendant, and the prayer pool. Now it's time for the first of the final quests, making friends with my arm. The only quests I have left besides this one are Fremennik Isles, Song of the Elves, Dragon Slayer 2 and Monkey Madness 2. And lastly, Secrets of the North. I was kinda worried about this quest boss fight, since I remember getting smacked around a lot on my main and having to use ranged. And my range level on this account is still very low. But it turned out you could just somewhat safe spot this guy with melee, so that he only attacked you with ranged and making it a free kill pretty much. And there we go, quest completed. And from the quest XP we get our first 99, being 99 fire making. 72 mining as well. Can now mine the salts in the mines here. 75 agility coming in as well. And 1700 total. That's quite a lot of level ups from one quest. And I've been mining the salts for a little bit, but man, this is boring. I tried to make it more fun for myself by alternating the rocks and trying to stay on the tick cycle, but man, I wish you could knife log this or something to make it a little bit more interesting. But I made both of the portals in the POH for herb runs and built the Fire of Nourishment. And then I went on a pretty big diary spree, completing the medium and hard Fremennik diary, the hard Kebos and Korent diary, the medium and hard Desert diary, the medium Karamia diary, and the Ardoin hard, for a total of 82.5k Herblore XP, getting me level 68 Herblore. So that's just 2 more for level 70, and I'm pretty sure the seeds I got from 69 Slayer are more than enough for that. And while I was doing my birdhouses, I did some sepulchre for adamant bolts, got the hallowed hammer for when I reached floor 4, and I stopped right before level 82 with like 220k left, because that is the amount of XP that I'm still gonna get from the quest I have to do. Almost 70 Herblore now, and it's kinda crazy that I never had to go out of my way to get level 70. The Winterdot loot, quest and diary XP and the seeds from 69 Slayer were just about enough. Game's too easy. Still not yet 70 Hunter, but I do have the level now for Magpie Implings. For Song of the Elves I need a rune bar, and for Dragon Slayer 2 I need a dragonstone. So I'm going to suffer for a little while in Puro Puro, competing with the bots. And hopefully it doesn't take too long to get those items. And I already got one key half. Yes, got the rune bars. Pretty lucky on this one, I think like 15 magpies. But it took a lot longer for the loop half key. It took me 55 implinks in total, and the drop rate is 1 in 18 or 1 in 19, so yeah, not ideal. But we got it now. Got a bunch of great chins to speed up the IRL time for level 70 Hunter, because I only have a week left for Desert Treasure 2 is coming out, so time is really starting to tick. And that is 70 Hunter from the last birdhouses. So now it's time for Song of the Elves. I love this quest, man. It's by far my favorite quest in old school RuneScape. But this time I don't have staminas for it, so let's see if I still enjoy it after the library part. And also I finished my version of the UIM guide. In the first episode I said I was using an old guide made by Kella, a UIM top pager, but I completely rewrote his guide to be fully up to date again. I made changes in the routing to match this speedrun, but also provided alternatives for those who might not want to start off with 99 firemaking right away. And all the logout stuff that I'm doing for the run is not included, so it is an actual super efficient Ultimate Iron Man guide. It currently goes up to how far my account is in the series, just like last time. So if you always wanted to start your Ultimate Iron Man journey, now is the time. But this guide took me a good while to make, so I just quickly wanted to mention that I do have a Patreon. I don't really post on it though, but if you find the guide helpful, please consider checking out my Patreon too, or if you just want to support me in general, that is also very nice. So I've put both of the links in the description. Okay, back to questing. I arrived in Letja now, so going to plant the palm tree here for the diary step, and killing some elves for a teleport crystal. But I'm not really sure why this quest is actually my favorite, because the first part is actually quite boring, but I don't know, there's just something about the elf questline that I really like, so... And you might think I'm crazy, but I think the library is the best part of the quest, so that is probably why I like it so much. But let's see how it goes with some super energies. I think stamina potions are a bit overrated for this quest, as you can just leave the library after you completed the seal and it will save your progress. So quickly unnoting some super boys and then we go back. Completed the library in just about 40 minutes. But after finishing up most of the quest, I'm going to pause Song of the Elves here at the part where I need to defend the Underground Pass, and switch over to doing the other remaining quests up to a point of a boss fight or a checkpoint to better manage my inventory for the fights itself. First doing Dragon Slayer 2 up to the point where I have to defeat Robert the Strong. And after you have made the Dream Potion you don't have to make it again, so I can just enter later with more inventory space for food. Then grabbing the Grigori I had stored after the Recipe for Disaster subquest and do Monkey Madness 2 up to the part where Glove heads to the Grand Tree with his airship. And at this point in the quest I no longer need a Grigori and a Monkey Speak amulet, so I can just drop those for good. Now it's time to finish off Song of the Elves. Picking up the Biz Mage Gear from the POH, my trusty Mystics. And the prep for this fight is quite interesting. I want to make use of the P-neck method to negate the one-shot attack from the Fragment of Seren. I'll explain in a bit how this exactly works. So what I'm going to do is making diamond enchant tablets for the diamond necklaces, since I need to be on ancients for the part before that as well. For the barrier part I used chins to quickly tag the rangers and then blood burst to heal myself again. This part is always pretty simple when you have a nice stack going on with the help of the NPCs as well. And Assealed went down without any issues as well. Now it's time to head to the Fragment of Seren. And that's the P-necks made. And the Nightshades acquired. Luckily they stack now, so it's a lot easier to set up my inventory. Don't have to death pile for this. I'm also going to take a rock cake to lower my HP if I'm too high HP right at the end before the special attack. Because what you want to do is to stay around like 30 hit points for the entire fight. So that way you can eat a Nightshade to damage yourself by 15. And if you do that at the right timing, your P-neck will proc and heal you again. But the other effect of a P-neck is that it nulls any incoming attack. So if you time it right, and it procs right before the big attack, then it will just simply null that. And then you can just keep going on with Blood Blitz and repeat this for the entire fight. But it's a pretty well-known strat for Iron Man that don't have access to brews. And if you don't make any mistakes, it's kinda just a free kill, and yeah. And luckily, I didn't make a mistake either, so Siren is already defeated. Also broke the 500 hour mark in this speedrun. Kinda crazy to think that we're already 500 hours in, and like the previous speedrun was already over before 800 hours. But that is Song of the Elves finally completed. We now have access to Peripheras. Right after completing Song of the Elves, I rushed to the Red Chins. Originally, I planned on getting at least 90 range before doing Dragon Slayer 2. But due to the time limit of Desert Treasure 2, I think I will have to settle for 75 ranged only. And I also completely forgot I needed dwarf weeds to make ranging potions. And at the time I didn't have the farming level, so I didn't pick up any seeds during Slayer for dwarf weed. And on top of the no ranging potions, my gear will be super scuffed as well for ranged. So these boss fights are going to be actually difficult. And I'll worry about the dwarf weed seeds later. It's time to throw these chins. I got some weird ass looking raging potions, but at least it's better than nothing. The lizard kickers will give me sometimes another max hit. Of course, using 2 dancers to make this as AFK as possible and also get the best XP rates, as I can always hit the maximum amount of monkeys. Only took me 1.5 hours to go from level 64 to 75. And I did a lot of testing on an alt for Galvek, and it should be doable at 75 with the brews I have left, but the only problem is that I will only have brews for 1 attempt. But first I got to deal with Robert the Strong, which is easier said than done. This dude hits like a truck, so I will definitely have to deathpile to bring more food. Alongside that, I also bought a granite body and rune plate legs for more range defense, and a dragon mace as he's weak to crush. But when being deathpiled, I can also safely go into the wilderness, so before picking up any gear, I'm going to do the Ghostly Ropes mini quest, as this is a requirement for Secrets of the North. And got that done. Now quickly going to bash Robert's head in with my dragon mace. Well, that was really close. I think me taking in that 1 brew last minute actually saved me because of the extra defense levels. I hope you guys can keep up with me bouncing around between all those quests, but since I had the tank gear, I started Secrets of the North so I could kill the assassin now without having to re-gear for this fight later, if I did all the quests one at a time. Actually, this assassin fight was super easy. I kinda was scared for it because the wiki had a max hit of like 40 on it, but that was from the special attack only, which is easy avoidable, and his normal max hit is like 18. I thought he was gonna slap me 40s like left, right and center. Assembling the most powerful range gear imaginable. And the rune crossbow is actually really overrated. The Eddy crossbow can also fire ruby bolts, so it is perfectly fine. And with this beautiful setup, I will have to stand my ground against vorkath. The Sandfuse from Sepulchre to function as antidotes and restores in one. The brews from Treader of Blood. And unfortunately no ranging potion and also no anti-fire because I forgot to make them when doing 70 Herblore and I refuse to deathbank right now. But vorkath is very possible without anti-fire if you pray magic. Oh yes, dude. Very glad to get this out of the way. I was pretty nervous for vorkath, but it turned out that I had pretty much the perfect supplies. Maybe a little bit overkill on the Sandfuse. Would have taken a little bit extra food, but yeah. Very happy with this. For the final fights, I do need anti-fires, but already head to Dead Bank for more space anyway, so not really losing time here. And for the dragons, I just stood under the Eddy and Rune Dragon to not get completely curb stomped. Mor Ul Rek, gonna smoke a galvek real quick. And keep in mind, these are my last brews, so if I fail at the end of the fight, it's I fear it's over then. Fuck yes, man. Dude, that really got my heart racing. When I was at phase 2, I was like, man, do I teleport out or what? My food is like looking really grim and I'm not really hitting specs at the moment. But then at P3, I hit some good specs luckily, so then my confidence was back a little bit. But still, like, if I had died at the end, there was no way I could do another attempt. Very, very happy to get this done and on first try. Now the quest cape is in reach finally. I just have to deal with a strange creature to finish Secrets of the North. Save Releka from the basilisks. And using range for this fight actually works surprisingly well. And that is Fragment Exiles completed. And lastly I had to deal with Gloves experiments. And then with the little guy himself. And then with 2 days to spare I completed all quests currently in the game on the Ultimate Iron Man. Honestly, sometimes I didn't enjoy questing, probably mainly because of the added stress of doing a speedrun. But it feels real good to buy this cape and do the... God damn it, man, I left click teleported. But as I was saying, it feels good to buy the cape and do the emote for the diary. No matter how hard or long Desert Treasure 2 is, they can't take away my diary step anymore. And that's it for this episode. It's been a long one, but I'm very glad to have achieved the quest cape right before Desert Treasure 2 is added to the game. All the fights went surprisingly well, no deaths or big mistakes. And let's look at the stats quickly. I pretty much gained a level in every skill. And we crossed the 500 hour mark this video as well. A quarter of the way to 2000. But what is interesting is that I only lost 1 EHP compared to my hours from last episode. Last episode I was 17 hours ahead and now 16 despite doing so many long quests. Well, this is mainly because the Slayer EHP from level 69 to level 75 is really low to account for all the questing. But doing Fragment Exiles and Monkey Madness 2 gave me 10 EHP from just the quest XP, so that really helped with keeping the hours in check. But that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like and a comment, and if you aren't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. And don't forget to check out the links in the description for the UIM guide. Have a good one, and take care.